This video is going to be on accessibility. This is your customer's experience when they're trying to access you in order to do business with you. So let's go over just a few slides regarding that. We want to know about your location. Is it someplace that your customers find easy to get to? Things to consider if you're looking at for a new location for your business is what is the customer's traffic pattern, both trying to get to your business and also leaving your business. It's funny, a lot of times customers will kind of subconsciously avoid making left-hand turns because they won't have to cut across traffic. They'd much rather do right-hand turns. Think about it. When you have to go run errands over the weekend, you may plot out your trip on all the different places you need to stop based upon the type of turn you have to make, whether you have to turn to the right or turn to the left, go across traffic or just kind of go with traffic. Now that's a subtle, small thing, but it is one of the many things that patients just kind of accumulate as to whether or not it's easy to do business with you or not. Also, when they're leaving, some place we go up, you can't make a right-handed turn without, a green light or trying to get across traffic when there's no light there at all. These are all things that, customers kind of factor in. I would even say on a subconscious level on determining whether or not you are an easy place to do business with or not. Also want to know, is your building or your business positioned out front or in the back? What I mean by that, out front where there's visibility, or does people have to try to find you kind of you're tucked back in somewhere where it's not really all that visible? If you're not all that visible, one, it's going to be hard for them to even know that you're there. But when they're trying to find your place, when they're trying to drive to it, they have to go through this crazy little pattern of traffic in order to get to where you are. So being out front is better than being out back or tucked in the back. Do you have up close parking or distance parking? Do they have to park in a parking garage? Do they have to park in an already very busy place and they have to walk a long way? A long way for them couldn't be, 20 yards. It could be 30 yards. I mean, whatever it is long can for them can be a kind of a down thing for you. I know that whenever I'm going with the family to go park somewhere at the grocery store or wherever, my gosh, have you ever heard about this? You ever heard of the complaining about how I could have got a closer parking spot, even though that parking spot was just maybe 20 yards closer? You still have to hear about how you didn't get the closer parking spot. So I know that parking is one of those things that customers do consider. Also, being on the first floor versus the second floor. If on the second floor, obviously you're going to have stairs and an elevator, but to them, it's just one more hassle that the customer has to go through in order to get to your place. Let's now move on to the telephone. The difference between these two pictures, one, the telephone on the left is just sitting there, I'm assuming ringing, where the one on the right is actually being answered by, a human being. So is your phone being answered? And if we were to kind of look at the different elements or strata of answering the phone, it's best to actually have a human pick up the phone when it's ringing. The second best, or it's kind of okay, is to have that automated attendant. It's where somebody's actually, where the machine's saying, press 1 for this, press 2 for that, press 3 for this other thing. People understand that's the way most businesses or lots of businesses work, yet it's not as good as having a human being answer it. And I would say it's bad to have the phone call go to voicemail. Customers or patients who are going to leave a message, they can, but they would much rather would have talked to an actual person. And then I would say this is pretty much unredeemable. If the phone rings and no one answers it and it doesn't go to voicemail, that caller is probably not going to give you too much grace when it comes to that. They're going to assume you just don't have your act together. They might try calling you one more time later, but if they run into this problem repeatedly or more than twice, they're probably never going to call back, and you're going to be considered not easy to do business with. How about this? When are you open and when you close? Consider the days that your customer wants you to be open, also the hours that your customer wants you to be open. I understand that you can't be there all the time, but you have to know what is the most popular times. And when you're as an owner, these are the things I would tell you to consider. Decide or know what it is that your customer wants, what your consumer wants as far as being open. Then you, as the owner, decide what you want. And whenever you start going against what the customer wants, just know that you're making that logical decision to forego whatever it is you could have had in your business, and you're sacrificing that in order to gain something more for your own personal reasons. Then number 3, I'm not asking what does your staff want. No, instead you find staff to fit those days and hours. See, there's this thing that I heard about years ago called consumerism versus practicism, assuming you're talking like a medical, dental type of office practice, where the owner and the staff all start trying to decide what they want for themselves, for their own personal lives, and all their different things have going on with kids and sports and school and hobbies and all, the way they want things done. Is if you just told everybody in your office, hey, what do you want? They would say, hey, doc, we want to come in around, say, 9, and we want to leave about 3. Well, that'd be great for everyone working in the office, but does that fit what your customers want? I think not. I think your customers do want to come in early. I think they do want to come in a little bit late. Maybe the weekends, maybe yes, maybe no. That's going to be a decision, for you to make. But as you, the owner, it's going to be important to know your customer. What do they want? Then decide what you want your business to do. Then you find the staff to support that business that you want to do. And then lastly, for accessibility is the actual booking that you have in your office. Just because you may have some holes in your schedule does not mean that you're open in the sense that your patient thinks that you're open. If the patient calls in and wants to come in at, say, 3:30, and you're booked from 3:30 almost every day, but you're open tomorrow at 10 a.m., that does not matter to the customers. Just like a restaurant, they may have tons of tables open at 4 o'clock, but no one's coming in at 4 o'clock to eat. They're coming in at lunch. They come in at dinner. They don't come in at that weird kind of middle afternoon time. Same thing with your office. There's going to be some times that your patients really want to come in. And if you can't get them in at that time because all the other customers want that time, then you're booked in their eyes. So just don't look at the schedule and see holes in the schedule and think like, well, we're wide open. No, you may not be wide open as far as your consumer is concerned. So when it comes to accessibility, consider, of course, the days and hours, your phone and how it's being answered, the schedule in which you are trying to fill. Make sure you have the openings that patients actually want. And those are become some of the key elements when it comes to a practice and its accessibility. All right, thank you.